We're back at it again. I tell you, it's the first time I've got to be in the woods in about a week. I tell you, my deer season has just went crazy this year. I haven't got to hunt near like I usually hunt. I haven't got to really hunt serious like I usually like to hunt. So it's just been one of them off years, bad years for me. But you know, I've killed a couple deer this year, but it's just not been near what I'm used to. But anyway, we're getting into that late season now, and in this video we're going to talk about how I approach and how I've had success in the late season, mid-December on into January, because everything's changing now. Things are starting to totally change from what it was even 3 or 4 weeks ago to 2 months ago. So late season, a lot of guys are already done. They quit, they're on the couch, watch a football game, whatever. But you can have some great success out here this time of year. If you still got deer tags that you need filled, don't overlook the late season. And we're going to talk about that in this video. You know, a lot of people overlook late season hunting. Like I said, a lot of people after the rut, after gun season's over, they're done. That's it. They won't even go back in the woods. So the pressure goes way down in the late season, which is a plus if you like to still deer hunt all the way to the end of the season. And that's why I like the late season more than I do the early season. You know, I'm not into this hot weather hunting and sweating and all that stuff. Some guys do it, some guys enjoy it, some guys are good at it. I just don't care for it. Maybe someday I might, but right now I just don't care for it. I'd rather hunt the late season than I would, say, September, or even when it's hot in October. But late season can be great. I've had a lot of success over the years, the 32 plus years of deer hunting, in December and January even, when everybody else is done. To me, the late season deer hunting is almost like the late season turkey hunting back in the spring. Deers just seem to get back on their feet more and they go back to food. So now I'm legally rifle hunting, where I'm at right now. Rifle season's still open, and so I've still got a rifle with me. But most of the time you're bow hunting or you're muzzleload hunting, okay? So here's 3 things that I do in the late season to increase my odds on killing a deer late. Number 1, go back to the scrapes. If you found scrapes back in October, November, and they've not had no activity much, go back to them scrapes mid-December on in, because what happens is, even though the rut's slowed down a lot, and we hear about the second rut, and we hear a lot of a lot of people talk about the second estrus that comes in, which is true. There is a second estrus period where the younger does maybe didn't come into heat back a month ago, and now they're coming into heat for the first time. So it is true that there is a second phase, but it's not as exciting and it's not as obvious as the first one, say a month ago. So even though that's happening, bucks a lot of times are, they're just kind of moving slow. They're replenishing. They're wore out. Think about it. They've been chasing for and breeding for a month, so they got to get replenished up. Because what happens? Well, winter's coming on. So if the winter's coming on, they got to build that fat up. They got to build that. They got to build all of this energy back up from what they had a month ago. And now it's depleted because they've been doing their thing for a month. So now it's kind of back to food, but that urge to breed is still there. So scrapes, now a lot of people, they get all confused about scrapes, but here's the thing: scrapes are like a calling card. It's just like, it's no different than hitting up a girl that you liked in high school. It's a calling card. So that's kind of what a scrape is. And even though them bucks may have been locked down with the does and been away from, and kind of been away and got them to themselves for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Now, when they lose them and everything's over, where are they going to go? They're going to go back to the pickup line, and they're going to go back to scrapes. So what I do is I go in and freshen back, scrapes that may not been worked, for a while. I go back in and freshen them up. And if I'm bow hunting, I'll hang close to them scrapes, or at least hang your cameras there. Years ago we didn't have cameras like we do now. Hang your cameras there and see if the activity is back around them scrapes. If it is, go in there, hang up, hang a stand in there, and keep hunting that scrape line. A lot of times that will cause you to be able to catch that buck on a scrape line. Now, that's one thing. All right. This is obvious in the late season is food. Go to where they're feeding. Go back to where they've been feeding at. Now, this evening, I'm going to watch this little wheat field up here. It's got wheat coming up out about like that. So it's green. I'm going to go back to it. I'm going to sit here, and I'm going to watch. Okay, I don't really care if it's a buck or doe or what it is. I just want to shoot a deer. So I'm going to watch green. Why? Because deer get sucked back in to food sources this time of year. Why? Like I said, they got to replenish. They got to get that energy built up. Winter's coming. Next 2 months are going to be hard on them. They got to get that fat built up so they can survive. So that comes by food. They're going to feed. Evenings are a tremendous time to hunt in the late season. I'm not saying mornings can't be either, but evening time, tremendous. So that's what we're doing this evening. So I try to focus in on food. If you're fortunate enough to hunt around cut cornfields, great place. Cut bean fields, great place, especially cut cornfields. We don't have that here. We've got grass and wheat fields and stuff, but just wherever they're coming into, that's where you want to focus at. So hunt the scrape lines and also hunt the food source, because them two places are going to have an increase in deer movement, especially this time of year. Now, this third tip is probably the most important of this entire video, because it would take me literally 2 hours. Well, maybe not 2 hours, but at least an hour. An hour and a half, I would guess, if I could sit here and tell you stories of people and myself that's killed deer doing this right here. Hunt the hidden treasure, or what I call junk piles. Now, what do you mean by junk piles? Listen, you will be amazed. It will absolutely amaze you where bucks, I'm talking big bucks, I'm talking about mature bucks, will end up in the late season. A month ago we were hunting these hardwood ridges and the edge of fields, and we were hunting these real pretty open flats, and just imagine a big old 20-inch 10-pointer walking to us in the rut. But guess what? Them same deer will show up in weird places. I call them junk pile places. Just junk, stuff like this right here. Just absolutely junk, just like this. This little old thing, little old strips of brush laying right between two fields. They'll be laying right there, or a little old brush pile, just like that. Bucks will lay there all day and just watch traffic go by. Places you never thought to look. You'll jump a deer, and it'll be a big deer usually, right out of a place where you thought, why in the world was that deer there? You don't want to know why he's there? Because he's been pressured for 2 months. He's going to go where hunters ain't. And a lot of times, hunters are not right near these junk piles. They are back in here where they hunted a month ago, and back here where it looks the best, and it looks pretty, and it looks like you should be able to kill a deer here. But the bucks have moved, and now their only goal is to survive. So their surviving mechanism kicks in, and they go right by somebody's house. If that's the case, they'll go right by somebody's house and just lay down in a patch of weeds and watch them walk out the back door. Listen, I mean, I could sit here and tell you stories of big bucks that I've seen in the late season, and big bucks I know have been killed by buddies of mine. That's honestly 100 yards off their back, right off the property line, or right off the back porch of a house, and a big deer be killed. Because in the late season, like I said, they're going to survive, and they go places where nobody looks. So don't overlook these little old brushy areas. Don't overlook these places like little strips of brush in the middle of a field. If you see a deer bed, if you see rubs and you see some beds laying there, hunt that. Get somewhere where you can watch that, because a lot of times they'll just come slipping right through here at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the evening, and it'd be a big old monster on his way back to a field or something. But you would have never caught him if you'd have been way back there where you think the deer should be. You know that old Fred Bear saying, don't hunt where you want to, hunt where the deers are at. Don't hunt where you think it looks the prettiest, you hunt where the deer are moving at. So a lot of times the deer are moving in places that you never thought. And that's exactly what happens in the late season so many times, and deers get overlooked and big bucks get overlooked because people just never would even imagine hunting there in that junk pile or that old, that old patch of weeds or whatever the case. So find these places and look for signs in these places and then hunt these places, and a lot of times you'll put your late season tag on a buck maybe of the entire season out 100 yards from the main road in a weed patch. It happens more than you think. So don't overlook little old places that deer like to travel. You just don't think they would honestly be there during the day. Good sign that they could be right there if you're not seeing them back there where you think you should be seeing them. It's 3 little things that you can put in the back of your memory bank, and just remember to hunt the scrapes, hunt the food source, and hunt these little hidden spots, weed patches, in the late season. And the next 2 or 3 weeks could be the time when you kill the buck of the entire season. Hopefully that's what happened to me, or kill something at least. But if it's been a rough season, don't give up, stay out there after it, and you could be having the success in the late season that you didn't have in the rut. It'll happen for you, and it's happened for me a lot of times over the years. So don't overlook that December to January, right before Christmas time frame. Make sure to subscribe to this channel. Just hit that subscribe button down the corner. I'd really appreciate it. Also, make sure to check out my website, DellOutdoors.com. Check out SpringFeverCustomCalls.com. Turkey season will be here before you know it, so we got some exciting things over there that's going to be happening this year. Check out SOSO Outdoors, and all the links below, just check them out. My online store where you can buy hats, shirts, and other apparel. The links will be in the description. And make sure, like I said, to subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.